What is going on, everybody? The Who Dat Nation, and it's the one and only Who Dat Davis here for you. And if you don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And thank you to everybody for checking out this edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed your bye week for week 6. The New Orleans Saints were off due to a bye week, and they are up 3-2 overall in the rankings, above 500 for the moment. Now, we have a lot to talk about, a lot of moves Saints have made, from transactions to outlooks of opposing teams coming up in the near future, to talking about what the schedule looks like going forward for the New Orleans Saints. All that and more coming up this week on the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. But for tonight, we're going to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers game, what this means for the New Orleans Saints, and key victories or key matchups the Saints need to be watching out for as they prepare to take on the Seattle Seahawks next Monday night for Week 7. But before we get into all that, before we always get down with the breakdown, a special shout out to every single person who's filing into the chat right now. At this moment, you guys are very awesome. I would not be here in this position if not for you guys. So thank you so much. If you guys haven't hit that like button already, please and thank you. And while you're at it, hit that share button and share me around to your fellow Saints fans, football fans. So let's continue to grow our platform together. We are at 1.3K. I want to get to 1.4K subscribers by the end of the year. I know we can do it, and I can't do it without y'all. And as always, go ahead and follow all my other social media at facebook.com, search Black and Gold Breakdown, or you go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Who Dat Davis. If you guys haven't already followed me on Twitter, what are you doing? You need to go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I talk about a lot of stuff over there, even football and non-football. Let's go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Real Aaron Davis. I have a chat set up for NFC South or Saints fans, Falcons, Bucks, doesn't matter. You guys want to talk shop football, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter, and I'll get you invited into that group chat as soon as possible. But let's go ahead and talk about this Seattle Seahawks and Steelers game. First and foremost, a shout out and prayer to Darrell Taylor, the Seattle Seahawks defensive end. Their leading their leader in sacks for so far this season. It looked like he had a very scary injury late in the fourth quarter before overtime. It looked like he took about 10 minutes to evaluate and get him checked out. But reports came out earlier today that Darrell Taylor looked like he's going to be just fine. He has negative x-rays, negative scans, and look like he's going to be ready for the New Orleans Saints next Monday night. And that's a big plus for the Seattle Seahawks and just football in general. You never want to see a guy with a scary injury like that. Everybody was hoping to pray, and me included. Shout out to him and his family, and shout out to Big Man upstairs for coming through and helping him avoid something very nasty. It looked like it could have been a lot worse than what it was. So what does this mean for the New Orleans Saints? That means the Saints offensive line is going to be really tested next Monday night when they go head to head, especially, left tackle James Hurst or right tackle Ryan Ramczyk, because of the simple fact that they're still not healthy yet. And the Saints worked out a number of different offensive linemen, a guard, a center. I think it was an offensive tackle in there somewhere. They are doing their due diligence and making sure that, they get some depth pieces where needed. That means, pretty indicative that means that the Eric McCoy and Teron Armstead still may need some time before they come back. That means that they're going to be put through a tough one. They're going to be put through a tough one, next week. Jamal Adams, I'm the best in the nation. Nah, cut it out, man. Jamal Adams, even though he's not much of a coverage safety, he's still a dynamic playmaker. He's still a blitzing linebacker. He reminds me of a young Malcolm Jenkins. All right. So, but he has slightly better coverage skills. So that means they still have to account for him on the field, especially when he's down in the box or at the line of scrimmage. Jamal Adams is fast, he's explosive. He can turn a game on its heels or on its head in a split second, which is one big play, and give his defense some much needed juice. You still have Bobby Wagner. He was a little, I wouldn't say disappointing, just an underwhelming performance, in terms of his standards, but you still have to account for him on the field. One of the best middle linebackers in the league alongside Demario Davis, Fred Warner, Eric Kendricks, and the like. This Seattle defense looked like it stepped its game up against, Ben Roethlisberger and this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Deontay Johnson, he got busy a little bit against Quandre Diggs in the second half. Chase Claypool had something of a quiet night. That's more to the credit of Seattle than a discredit to Pittsburgh. But, the difference between Pittsburgh's offense and the Saints offense, it starts with the quarterback. It starts with being younger and having a more livelier arm. Ben Roethlisberger wasn't able to get it over the head of the Seattle Seahawks defense. And what that means for the Saints, that means that Jameis Winston can take advantage of that. You have some guys that can make plays down the middle, like deep down the field. And Raquan Smith looks like he's getting ready to come back. And 2 weeks ago, during that Week 4 loss to the New York Giants, Raquan Smith talked about he was getting ready to come back in 2 weeks' time. And guess what? 2 weeks has already come and gone for the New Orleans Saints. That means Raquan Smith, barring any setback, he should be designated to return from injured reserve sometime this week. We're just waiting for the official news from Nick Underhill or the Saints official media page. And that's really good for the New Orleans Saints because they need some help at the wide receiver position. Even though the Seattle Seahawks are giving up some of the worst yards per game or yards allowed per game, so far this 2021 season, you can't sleep on Quandre Diggs. You can't sleep on this secondary. They can come out and surprise you. And if not for that overtime, TJ Watt heroics, who knows what would have happened? The fact that they were able to put it in overtime when the Steelers should have been favored by at least three by 3-point favorites, it speaks a lot to the resilience of this team. And it starts with the defense. They have their first real test coming out for them. And what I mean by that is, let's look at the Seattle Seahawks offense, starting with their quarterback. You guys know the quarterback. He had he did things. He did things. It looked like he was kind of like a game manager. I don't know how to put it, but he did look pretty impressive against this formidable Pittsburgh defense, especially the defensive line. So what that means for the Saints is they need to be able to create pressure and make him uncomfortable in the pocket. So that starts with the Saints defensive line up front. That starts with Shai Tuttle. That starts with Malcolm Roach. That starts with Tana Passignon. That starts with Albert Huggins. Whoever is in the interior for the Saints defense, they have to be able to push the pocket in the middle and create that interior pressure to make him uncomfortable. Because Cam Hayward had a field day rushing up the middle and creating havoc for Geno Smith. The edge rushers, TJ Watt and I believe it was some other guy, I forgot his name. But anyway, it set up so much for edge rushers coming off the line of scrimmage that created those opportunities, such as the one in overtime. That's just a really big play by TJ Watt. Everybody on the defensive end has to be able to create havoc, especially the interior. We've seen some underwhelming stuff from the Saints interior for the last 5 weeks now. The last 5 weeks of Saints football. And that created opportunities for the opposing offensive lines to double up on our defensive ends of Peyton Turner, Cameron Jordan, Carl Granderson. Tana Pascal's getting a little bit of double teams now. The Saints have 3 of the top 5 double team defensive ends in the league through 5 weeks. Peyton Turner is the highest, and Cam Jordan is close behind him, number 2. Carl Granderson is number 4. So that means the Saints defensive line is just not respected in the interior. I said last time I was here, the talent level, but the talent gap between David Onyamada and the next best defensive tackle on our team, which is in this case Shai Tuttle, is staggering high. Shai Tuttle is proven to be one-dimensional, but David Onyamada, he can do both. He can stop the run and rush the passer. And if you're counting on David Onyamada to create opportunities, well, it's a big get back, but you need to be able to do more on your part. You have to be able to step up to that next level. That's the big question. Who in that Saints interior is going to step up and make that next big play for the New Orleans Saints to get Geno Smith off the spot? The secondary. for the New Orleans Saints is going to have this big test. Even though Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf didn't have that impressive of a game, that still doesn't mean they need to get stopped. They're still one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. Tyler Lockett last game, he put up 2 for 35. Two receptions for 35 yards. That's probably his worst performance in NFL and his NFL career. He's not going to be looking to have a repeat performance. So you have to be able to contain Tyler Lockett. He's an extremely dangerous deep threat, and so is DK Metcalf. Marshawn Lattimore, we know he's going to be locked in. But what about Paulson Adebo or Bradley Roby, whoever is going to be that CB2 on the opposite side? We're most likely going to see Marshawn Lattimore against DK Metcalf. He's getting more volumes of targets, being more and more of that reliable guy for Geno Smith in this game. So what about Tyler Lockett? That's going to be a key matchup to look at Monday night next week. So Paulson Adebo is going to have a big test, a monumental task, going against one of the best and most underrated receivers in Tyler Lockett. There's going to be a matchup to pay close attention to. You might have to give some help on Marcus Williams. The linebackers, they're going to have the linebackers for our Saints are going to be, I believe, are going to be fine. I believe they can hold up against, Family Dollar, great value version Alvin Kamara and Collins over there for Collins for Seattle. Look like a bigger version of Alvin Kamara. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Go look at Collins over there. You'll see what I'm talking about. 41, dreads, buff, swole. He has great yards after contact. Very decent back for them. Chris Carson is not going to be there next Monday night against the New Orleans Saints. But Rashad Penny is eligible to return off IR if everything goes smoothly. So, and we all know what Penny can do when he's out in space. Pete Werner and Demario Davis are going to have their hands full guarding against one of these guys. So they need to be on P's and Q's. Pete Werner is having a fantastic start to his career so far. I believe he's one of the best top three rookie linebackers so far this season. I believe he's ranked higher than even Micah Parsons with the 76.6 overall rating through 5 weeks, whereas Micah Parsons like somewhere 72, 73 last time I checked. So what does that mean? That means Pete Werner, I shouldn't be too concerned, but you never know. Rookie mistakes happen. They're still going through growing pains. Marcus Williams is most likely going to take away the deep threat, but you never know with these receivers. They still got other guys you need to watch out for. You got Swain, you got Gerald Everett, the tight end, who's making some plays over the middle of the field. They can't get sloppy just because Russell Wilson is not there. So it starts up front. If they can create that interior pressure, because that's going to be key to winning this game out of mostly anything. They have to be able to create that interior pressure and get Geno Smith off his spot and get him uncomfortable. And if that ends up happening, the Saints could be in a good spot to go up 4-2, getting ready for Tampa Bay and the Tennessee Titans, I believe, not long after that. And speaking of the schedule, let's go ahead and talk about this schedule for the New Orleans Saints. First, we got Seattle Seahawks, right? Then we got the Tampa Bay Bucks, followed by the Atlanta Falcons, and then we've got the Tennessee Titans. The Bucks are going to be a really big challenge for the New Orleans Saints. Defensively, this is not the same Bucks team that was still trying to find its stride with Antonio Brown, late in the season. They have officially found their rhythm offensively with Antonio Brown. Mike Evans is going to get locked up for the most part, but I believe he's going to have a couple of big catches. I think he's going to break this streak of having no catches against Marshawn Lattimore this year. He's hungry. He wants to show that he's better than Marshawn Lattimore. I believe he's going to get a couple of catches. I think Tom Brady is going to make sure that he gets his targets. He's going to get his receptions. But Antonio Brown is the X factor for the Tampa Bay Bucks offense. He's the guy that Tom Brady goes to if nothing is open and nothing is available, because he's just that good of a playmaker. And if you have Antonio Brown as your number 3 receiver, who does that mean? Who does that leave? That leaves the likes of either CD Deuce in the slot or Paulson Adebo on the outside, and that's a scary matchup. As good as Paulson Adebo has been playing overall this year, having a rookie cornerback going up against one of the best receivers in NFL history is going to be a problematic matchup. Or they might get Bradley Roby out there. We will have to see. But this offense with the Bucs is explosive. They're dangerous. I don't believe Leonard Fournette is going to be that much of a problem. In the 2020 playoffs last year, They went to Leonard Fournette because they were picking on Alexander Loney. I don't think Pete Warner is going to be that type of he's going to have that type of performance against Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones or even Giovanni Bernard. I think he's going to hold them and keep them in check for the most part and force Tom Brady to rely on other pass catchers, much like Antonio Brown, much like Cameron Brate, much like O.J. Howard, or maybe even Chris Godwin. We'll see. But if they can hold this offense and if they can hold this Tampa Bay offense and if they can hold if they can keep the defense for the Bucs honest, because the defense, their secondary, to be precise, is very injured right now. They're down half of their DBs, half their starters, and Richard Sherman looks like he's going to miss the October 31st game against the Saints, and that is a really big matchup for the Saints, getting a lot of guys, getting a lot of guys reps, especially Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, he may not play next week, Monday night against the Seattle Seahawks, and that's fine. He's officially designated to return off IR, off the PUP list, this week. After tonight, he's designated. He is eligible to return off the PUP list, to be activated off the PUP list. But it's going to take time for Michael Thomas to most likely get to game shape. It might take 2 weeks. And that 2 weeks is more than fine, in my honest opinion, because the New Orleans Saints, they are still finding ways to win football games. Sean Payton is still trying to put guys in the best position to succeed. And I believe Raquan Smith, when he gets back, I expect him to be back for this game. He put it out there that he was going to be back, so I expect him to be back. But going on the premises that he is going to be back, I think the Saints are going to be able to handle the opposing defenses of the Seattle Seahawks, of an injured Tampa Bay Bucs, of the Tennessee Titans, led by Christian Fulton and Jack Rabbit Jenkins. I think these guys can handle those defenses. It's all about matchups and how Sean Payton goes about the game plan. They can continue, coaching a good game and not getting too cute in the wrong situations, then they have themselves a game. And you get Taysom Hill back. Taysom Hill went out against the Washington football team due to a concussion, and what he's able to do in those short yardage situations, especially as a Swiss Army type of player. That means that once they get him back, that means the passing attack can still be pretty potent. I wouldn't say explosive, but I will say it's pretty potent when Taysom Hill is catching passes. There's a lot riding on the Saints, playoff hopes. They're now a half game ahead of the Carolina Panthers, who just lost in overtime to the Minnesota Vikings. So that's a good spot for the Saints to be in. That means they have to be able to keep ahead and keep pace with the Tampa Bay Bucs and really challenge them for the number one spot in the NFC South. Because if you fall to number 3, there's little to no chance you're going to make the playoffs. The NFC West is looking like it's going to be scary. The Chicago Bears looking like it's finding its stride little by little with Justin Fields at quarterback. And we all know what Green Bay is going to be going to the playoffs. And the Minnesota Vikings are hanging around. So the margin for error is very, very slim once you fall into that number 3 spot in the NFC South. The Saints have to make sure they do their due diligence. All right, it's important for them to maintain momentum coming off the bye week. The Saints are pretty much undefeated minus the one game under Taysom Hill after coming off of a bye week. That means they finally started hitting their stride. And it remains to be seen if they will continue to hit their stride like they normally do after a bye week after this coming Monday. So that's all I have to say for right now. But let's go ahead and read a couple comments, man. Let's read a couple of comments and I'll respond as we can. I appreciate everybody filing in, commenting in the chat. You guys are awesome. Shout out to Joshua Neal, my old friend up there. My old friend from high school. What's going on, Josh? You got Edward Neal. Oh, that's Joshua. Joshua Edward Neal. I see you, man. Robert Clark. What's going on, Robert? Robert says Davenport will make a difference. Marcus Davenport is officially dubbed as our best pass rusher, and then that's not a knock on Marcus Davenport, because when he's in the lineup, he's a difference maker. He wrecks nearly everybody. Can he stay healthy going forward this year? He managed to do it last year when he came off When he came off IR for 4 games, when he missed those first 4 games, he had no injury destination ever since. He was important. So will he be able to do the same thing this year? Remains to be seen, but we have 2 years to try to figure out this Marcus Davenport situation because you guys have forgotten, or you don't know, the Saints picked up his 5th-year option this past offseason. So we're gonna be stuck with him for a while. Tampa Bay's weak link is the secondary. Throw on them, they are hurt. Absolutely. But you don't want to wear out Jameis Winston's arm in that game. You still have to try to run the football or get creative with some runs out in the flat and stuff like that. They have to be able to find ways to run the football. Miles Sanders got going late in the 4th quarter. He got a couple of runs. You have to be able to threaten this team deep and open up those lanes in the middle for them to run the football. So they can't get away from that. They can't get away from their game plan just because they're hurting the secondary. Slim South, what's going on, man? I'm going to read a couple more here. I'm not going to read every comment because Monday Night Football is coming up, and I want to get ready, get the whole room set up. But we'll read a couple comments here. We will definitely read a couple comments. Slim South says, "Yo, Aaron, I think we need to use our fullbacks more to really get Kamara loose and our running backs for our running game." I absolutely agree with that. Alex Arma, I had pretty big expectations for Alex Arma when he was signed in the offseason. I really did. I looked at his tape. He was a really good lead blocker for CMC and Mike Davis last season. The fact that he hasn't been used as much is kind of surprising to me. I don't know if it's because he doesn't have the mold or doesn't fit the scheme, but they use Mike Burton a lot more than they use Alex Arma, and Burton was only here for 1 year last season. So I definitely believe they need to use their fullbacks more. Alex Arma can be a really dangerous guy. They need to be able. They need to do it. They need to do it. Chemo, smash that like button for our brother. Yes, go ahead and slice that like button for your boy. If you haven't hit that like button already, please. It really helps out the channel. I really appreciate you guys' support. You guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's read about 2 more here. Let's read 2 more. We're gonna get ready for Monday Night Football. Saints 01 is going on, Nada. What's up, bro? Man, you have an idea about Quan Davenport and MT? I see you not ready. That's true. What I know about Marcus Davenport, from what I've seen on his Instagram, he looks like he's doing fine. So he might be designated to return off IR. We'll have to see as the week progresses. As for Raquan Alexander, the Saints worked out a couple of linebackers today, which means not very hopeful for Raquan Alexander and his injury. And you have to be able to rely on somebody if the off chance that Pete Werner goes out with an injury. Now, I don't want that, knocking on wood, but you never know. You have to be ready for those situations. If you don't, I would not trust Zach Bond as a weak side linebacker at all. I think he's fine playing special teams. I said that long before everybody was on board with Zach Bond, but you have to be ready for those type of situations. It could also mean Chase Hampton's not on his way to recovery again. We don't know. We'll see as the week progresses. I don't know too much about Quan. I think Davenport's healthy enough to return. We'll see what that comes up to be later on this week. As far as Michael Thomas, those things take time. Michael Thomas hasn't played football since January, since the playoffs of last season. That's going to take time for Mike Thomas to come back into football shape. I don't believe this ankle injury is going to – I don't believe in this. I don't subscribe to him not being the same player he was 2019. I don't subscribe to that. Michael Thomas is a dog, man. He's a dog. He's a beast. He's hungry. He's always been like that. I think he's going to be fine. He just needs time to get into game shape. I think it's going to take about 2 weeks, maybe even 1 week. We don't know. But I don't expect Michael Thomas to play in that Week 7 game against the Seahawks. I expect Traquan Smith to come back and then assume that number 1 receiver role for the New Orleans Saints until MT comes back into the fold into the week after, maybe the week after that. Don't know yet, but it's a little uncertain for Michael Thomas, but I'm fine with that. You want him 100% absolutely if you're going to make a run for the playoffs. You can't rush Michael Thomas. As much as he wants to come back, you can't rush him. You can't rush him at all. I picked the Bills to win tonight. I think the Bills are going to win too. I think they're going to have a good time, stopping Derrick Henry because that defense is for real for Buffalo. I have them winning tonight. But that's it. That's all. That's it for that. That's it. That's all for today's episode of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. I apologize for it being so short, but like I said, I'm getting ready to watch Monday Night Football, and I got home late. I had to make food for the grandmama, make sure he had her medication, so that's why we started it. at 6:30. I will be back later this week, either Thursday or Friday. Pay attention to my community tab, and then we will discuss more key matchups for the New Orleans Saints going forward. As always, if you don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. I'll check you guys out Wednesday or Thursday. Key matchups for the New Orleans Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks. I will check you guys out